Good Monday morning, Prospect. I'm going to hit a couple of topics that you may not think are connected or related today, but I see the connection, and so here goes. First of all, somebody has been breaking into and living in the old white church. And somebody has rifled through the pastor's desk drawer, ruined a robe of hers, and it looks like they pooped in the altar area right behind the pulpit. I hope that there is another explanation, but it really looks like somebody pooped right behind the pulpit. And folks, first of all, we have opened our doors to Wesley Chapel, which is a predominantly black church. And even if it were a homeless person who wasn't doing it for any bad reason, you can't make that look right. So, Prospect. First of all, we need to make sure, and you need to hear me very clearly, if someone actually did go in there and do that as a protest, and I find out who it's done, I'll make sure charges are pressed. We're not going to do that. Galatians 3, I'm going to start at 26. You are all God's children through faith in Jesus Christ. All of you who were baptized into Christ have clothed yourself with Christ. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, nor is there male or female, for you are all one in Jesus Christ. If you belong to Christ, then indeed you are Abraham's descendants, heirs according to the promise. You don't want to do this if I'm the pastor. Because if the church can't be open to everyone and inviting to everyone, then the church needs to close its doors. And if you don't agree with that, then you need to find someplace else to go worship. I'm sorry. No, actually, I'm not. And I hope there is some other explanation. But I got to tell you, it looks bad. It looks wrong. It looks evil. So, at some point in the very near future, because like I said, there is evidence that someone has been living in the basement. We Prospect need to get a dumpster and get over there on a Saturday afternoon and clean that place out. There's actually a fire hazard down there. We need to fix that. The second thing we need to do, now you need to understand, I don't fall in love with buildings. I don't, because the church is not the building. I understand and I appreciate that old white church has a lot of history, a lot of memory, and that a lot of holy things happened while we were in that church. If it's going to stand up, then we need to keep it up. We need to keep it repaired. The wood is rotting in a lot of places. The ceiling, the roof has been leaking. It's been repaired as far as I know, but the inside needs to be repaired and it needs to be repainted. And we have one of two choices. We either need to keep it up or we need to tear it down. Now, I heard, or you heard me say, I understand the sentimental value of the building, the attachment that you have to it. But it's a shame to let it stand there until it rots to the ground. So we have to make a decision. So those two things, we've got to either, we've got to make sure that nobody is living in the building. We've got to then either take care of it, because if it's going to represent us, as a pastor, this is the part I'm not sure some of you will get. As a Methodist pastor, you move. Now, I recognize Lawrence Lockett was here forever, and I appreciate that. But even Ronnie Brandon has moved from here. And you see things that the membership doesn't see. When we moved into Elberton, and I'm not picking on Elberton, the church was in wonderful shape, but the colors and the carpeting were dated. And by dated, I moved there in 2006, and the carpet, there was a plaque on the wall about the carpet having been installed in 1978. It was still in good shape, but it was chartreuse. And a new person who walked in looked and went, oh my goodness, this is old. And we upgraded it, and it looks good. And I wasn't being critical, but when people drive by this facility and they see that that white church is not being maintained, they make a judgment on our stewardship. And some people decide they don't ever want to come here because we're not taking care of our stuff. So we have to make it secure. If somebody went in and vandalized the place, if I find out who it is, I will make sure charges are pressed. This is the kind of thing that makes me angry, and I don't like being angry. But we need to make sure that everything that we do that represents us is in good working order. So I will get with Randy Satterfield, who I know is our trustee chair, and we will arrange a date, but we need to get up here and get the junk out of that church basement and get rid of it so there's not a fire hazard, and then we need to secure that building so that it can't be broken into, and we need to make sure we take care of it. The people at Wesley Chapel are using our building because their facility, if I remember properly, was damaged by water and there was a severe mold issue. We are the body of Christ. They're welcome here. As long as I get the privilege of being the pastor here, they're welcome here. Janitha has become a friend of mine. I'm looking forward to her ordination. If we're going to allow them to be here, we need to be good hosts. Same thing, Covington Academy. If something needs to be done here, we've got to make sure that we take care of this building. So I know I have rambled today, and I apologize, but this is important, and it is a reflection on how we act as the body of Christ. Prospect, Be blessed and be a blessing.